You know what I'd like you all to do, those of you who are hearing any one of these stories, is begin to share your own story. This is how we're coming back to ourselves. Literally, sharing your story will prompt someone else to share their story. We're connected to the Nananom Insamanfo, our spiritually cultivated ancestors and ancestresses, and the Abosom, whether we recognize them or not. We may call them angel, spirit guide, intuition, all kinds of things. And by the way, we're not supposed to be hearing from all of these other entities. That's part of the problem. I can remember being a small child, growing up Seventh-day Adventist and going to Sabbath school lesson, going to the Sabbath school, and the teacher telling us about people who gave their life to Jesus, but before they were, I don't know if they called it witchcraft or whatever, but they had like a spirit guide, right? This guide would always give them information and tell them what to do and how to do it and that sort of thing. And so and they were able to help other people. People will come to them to help find lost things and um, find love and all of that. But when they now went to Jesus, then those spirit guides or entities would turn on them and would do things to harm them, to kill them, all kinds of stuff like that. So those were the stories. Those were the stories, that I remember hearing about people who seemed to have spirit guides that were helpful. The way they turned. So everything was like a little bit scary, right? In our traditions, the spirit realm is not scary. It's a normal thing, it's a normal part of life. Everything we did was sacred. That's why everything we did had a ritual associated with it, because we were always seeking to align with divine order and to repel disordered entities. We knew about disordered spirits, but there were ways to deal with them. So for a lot of our people, what's happening is that these communications are normal, but as I said in a previous video, our boundaries have been breached. There are certain places that walls should be up. This is where the altar and our rituals come into play, because that is our natural means of communication with the divine. It's our natural means of protection and repelling from these wayward spirits. It's natural. We are supposed to get information on things that are going to come up. We're not supposed to be walking around here blind and shocked at the things that are happening to us in our lives or to our family members. We're not. That's not normal. That's not natural. So as you're recalling the stories, the experiences actually that you've had and that you continue to have, they're not going to stop. It's natural. It's like it's natural to see. It's unnatural to be blind. It's natural to hear. It's unnatural to be deaf. But we we can see everything, but we don't put our sight on everything. We can hear everything, but we don't move according to every single thing we hear. It's the same thing with these experiences, right? There's some things that we may see that may frighten us. So here's a story. I didn't know what was going to come up, but this is a story. So this was a time when I was under heavy, say, spiritual attack, because I didn't know anything about the spirit realm that was bad. Okay. I only knew things that were good and pleasant. And like I said, I was always drawn to it. So this one, and my children, I could always see they served as some type of buffer or protection for me, literally, like physically, served as some kind of protection buffer from the things that were happening to me in the spirit realm. So this one time I was home by myself. My children were all out at different places. And I remember I was so tired and I was in a very deep sleep. You know how you're so, like, you're just drained, absolutely drained. And I literally became aware of people, like a whole bunch of people on the main level of my home. I was upstairs in my bedroom, so there's no way to get outside. And they were coming upstairs, and I knew they were coming to eradicate me. Listen to those words. They were coming to eradicate me, to literally blink me out of existence, however you do that. I woke up, I jumped up out of, literally so exhausted. But in that moment, I was wide awake. And I remember jumping out of my bed and running into the closet. And it was instinctual. So I want you to get this, because we have different levels of awareness. So even though I didn't, and my mentor told me, he said, you have no understanding of the power you wield in the spirit realm. And he was absolutely right. Because how did I wake up like that? I literally jumped up out of, my body was physically tired, completely exhausted, mind tired, body tired, everything. And yet I jumped up instantly. And in that instant, I was very clear that there was a difference between dying and being annihilated from existence. I can't even tell you how I knew that. I just knew it. I ran into the closet and I literally began, and this was my mental and spiritual training, began to talk myself down. How did I do that? I literally said, okay, where am I? All right, I'm at home. I'm in the closet. I touched the wall. Okay, this is the wall. I moved my foot on the floor. Okay, that's the floor. This is the wall. Okay, who is at home with you? All right, your daughter is here. Your son is here. Your son is here. They weren't home. So it's just me at home. Okay. So I came to that understanding. Okay, it's just me here. It's just me in the house. There's no one else in the house. It's just me. My heart was racing. And so I had to talk myself down. I said down from that level of reality to say what was happening here, because what woke me up out of my sleep was that I felt and knew there was a large number of people in my living room area and in the hallway by my front door, and they were coming upstairs. I knew that. So I was just as clear of, or just as aware of that as I was that I was in my closet. And so I had to literally talk myself down to make a distinction between here and there. And so I said, okay, I have to, I'm here by myself, so I'm safe, because I felt as if people were coming to take my life. And I said, okay, I'm safe. It's just me, no one else is in the house. And then I went back and laid down. But now, anytime I closed my eyes, I began to feel this anxiety, this high level of anxiety, and I sensed the presences of the same people, whoever it was. I still sensed them. I still sensed the danger. And remember, I didn't know anything about spiritual warfare. And I was just terrified, so tired, but couldn't go to sleep. It's like if I was awake, I was like, okay. So I kept going in and out, in and out. Well, I don't know if it was the next day, but within that week, I talked to my mentor, Reverend Israel. And I remember him saying, you're under heavy spiritual attack. Half of it is coming from, or some of it is coming from your husband's family. A little bit more is coming from your mom, and all of that. None of that made sense to me. I didn't understand what he was talking about. And he acknowledged he knew I didn't know he was my mentor, so he knew I didn't know anything about that. And he said, but I'm not afraid of the fight. I'm not afraid of the warfare, and I will go in and pray for you. But here's what I want you to do. He said, I need you to pray, or I'm sorry, you need to pray a ceiling shattering prayer. And so I'm like, what is, well, I don't even know what that is. I said, what is that? A prayer that will get through to heaven. I had no idea what that meant. How do you pray? I just knew to pray regular. What kind of prayer do you pray that gets through to heaven? So I went and I got a piece of paper and a pen. And he told me, okay, this prayer should contain, like this. He didn't give me all the words, but he said you can start it out like this and then, incorporate this, incorporate that. I don't even remember what it was I was supposed to incorporate, but that's what he told me to, that's what he told me to do. He said, because you're under heavy spiritual attack. So I said, okay. And that probably, I'm sure it probably was that same day. And I found time, I went to sit down and begin to write just with the first few words that he told me how to begin this prayer. And I'm sitting here trying to think, okay, what do I need to say here? What do I need to say there? And I want to be very clear. Listen, who we are resounds and resonates. Even though we're not aware who we are is a resonance. Just like you hit a tuning fork and there's a resonance, there's a sound. You are a sound in the cosmos. You put your hand in a bowl of water or in a pool of water or in a lake, you displace the water there, right? You make an impression there. I started to write, and to my absolute shock, it was like when I was done that I realized and I read, I was like, whoa, what is that? Where I read what I wrote. And I didn't even I don't think I got through one sentence or even two, but I began to write in all capital letters. And when I went back and read what I wrote, it said, I am a queen of a time before time, ruler of this sublime. I come with my whole mind, taking no prisoners as I walk through time. Those in service to me, it's time to stand. Right now, you hear my command. Bring resources, people, and expand my space. This territory I retake. By the vested power that I am, I reclaim my land. Those who would seek to take what's mine, handle them as we did in a time before time. I'm on a mission to elevate. We will not allow these old ones to overtake. Boundaries have been set. Protect this place. We've come to gather and restore our own to Amen and Amenette's righteous throne, a throne on which they now sit, but have been deceived by all this shit. No more, I declare, their blinders are removed. So now they too see the very ones they trusted were the ones who deceived. I call forth my wisdom, power, and dominion, and I now take back my kingdom. Kings and queens, it's time to rise. Wake up, royalty. Open up your eyes. That's what came through. And it was only when I finished writing, I don't need, I went back and I read it and I'm like, oh my God. But I think it wasn't even immediately apparent to me that all of that was written in uppercase, capital letters. Because when I started writing, I was writing regular, I was just writing. But the minute it's that I am a queen, um, the minute from the time I said I am a right identity, all of that was in capital letters. So I don't want to take a long time on this video. I didn't even mean to share that, but that literally, I'm just sharing what's coming forth, and there's so much more. So I'll see you in the next video.